Okay, so this is an Indian that I thought was interesting. It's on the side of this idea here. This was from really yesterday's shir. So it's the position of the Uriah Kodesh not to shave or to go to the barber, have your haircut, that's the right word, during Sifra, all the way through Sifra. And he says, Inyan the Giluach, so when he calls it shaving. That the Uriah Kodesh did not shave his head, but only on the eves of Pesach. In other words, from that period to the eve of Shavuos. But not he didn't because Rosh Chodesh is a shtickle holiday. In any way at all. So there are times, like it's a custom now for people to take a haircut on Lag BaOmer, or right before, or right after, either way. And people have different customs, but he says not to do it at all. He says, now, there's a little arichas over here in this number, Kof Aleph and Kof Bet. So let's go over here and let's see what they say, and we'll try to, I think we can get it on the page, there it is. So he says, look at here, he says, a gloss, so there's a gloss over there, the Pri Eitz Chaim, the Perik Zayin Bezel Lishon. This is what it says. There's a little note on the side. Divrei Hamaskil Me'Eitz Chaim. So we're going to quote the Eitz Chaim. Mori Zel Lo Choyim Mistaver Me'erev Pesach Ad Erev Shavuos Klal Be'ikr. He didn't shave at that time at all his head. Lo B'Rosh Chodesh V'Lo B'Lag BaOmer, not in Lag BaOmer either. BaOmer Le'Ratam. So he told me the reason. What's the reason he told me? He says, Ki yesh tikun echad b'gulgolta. There is a certain tikun that takes place in the head. V'hu nira omer naki, and it has v'hu nikra. It's called by the name of white wool. So this is we're talking here that we see in the Idras is the concept of what did the head of Eric Anpin look like. It says a lot of different kinds of whitenesses, and this is one of them, which is called Amar Naki, white, a clean wool, pure clean wool. Yesh Tikkun Beis, and there's another Tikkun, the Nikvel Tal of the Bedolcha, which is called the dawn of, this is called crystal dew. V'hi zez sod pasuk ha'omer b'chasiv za'efa. So this is the secret of this pasuk. Now he's going into this. That's a little bit difficult for me to hear. He says, Ki Omer Gematria Shen Yud Almin. So there are 310 worlds of hiddennesses of the light of, this is like veils of the light of the Ein Sof. Umila Ha'omer, so the word Ha'omer itself, he says it refers to Man Nukfin, that is light that is going from the bottom to the top. Oz, Man, and Omer, so you take the word Omer, which comes to 310, add it onto the word Man, which is 90, you get to the gematria of Toph. You get that means 400. So this is like an internal connection that we have to see. This is the concept, the gematria of the 400 worlds, the Yarsin, Tzedikaya, the Ose, the Vo, that the Tzedikim will be able to and will inherit, it will be their home in the world beyond physicality. And it's also called Arba Meos, that's a 400, Shekel Kesef. There's a whole sefer written called by the Uri called Arba Meos Shekel Kesef. So of course it goes back to Avraham Avinu. B'chein beis pamim Omer. So also 2 times we say the word Omer, which let me see. V'chein beis pamim Omer gematria Keser. So you take the word Omer, you multiply it by 2, and you get to the gematria Keser. Okay, Kames Keser is 620, so 620. Shuhu Gulgulta, which is the concept that if we're talking about this now, the head of Eric Anpin. Naki, so when we talk about this clean wool, Shehim Asa'aros Heim Bekeser, which refers to the head, to the hair, the top of the head of Eric Anpin, he said it refers to his keser, his crown. V'hine ha'omer asiris ha'efa, so the omer turns out to be 1/10 of an ephah. Now, this is a very complicated little thing here. So we have Omer, okay? What is an Omer? It's 1/10 of an ephah. So he says, Who sod osios pei? because the root of the word Ephah is the word Peah, which of course refers to the corner of the field. Now he tells a Chiddush. He says Peah, which refers to the land. Malchus is really another word for Malchus, Hanikra Elokim, which is also called by the name Elokim. Mida Yud, and Malchus is the 10th Mida. If you count from Kesser going downwards, Malchus is number 10. So now we have the letter Yud in play. So this is the concept of a tenth, which is 10, a tenth of an ephah. That is what was it? Malchus. That's Malchus. V'hine Rabbi Akiva choyedorish sod kavim elu. So what it is of Rabbi Akiva, he was able to make drashas on the 3 lines. V'sod dorish kisrei osios, which is what we see in the Talmud, which refers that he was able to make drashas on the crowns of letters. So he says has to be understood, the crowns of letters, exactly what he means, but he said, so since his Talmidim died, also the histaver b'yamim ha'elu is forbidden to shave or to take a haircut during these days ad kan Lishon. So that's what it is. So this is the concept of Malchus. I'm not sure how I picked it, how I understood all of that together. For those who have a little more insight, get into it. So the next thing is that we have another little piece where it said, previously it said that we don't shave between, that the Reed does not shave between Erev Pesach and Erev Shavuos. We have this little piece, and it says Amar Shmuel, that's Rabbi Chaim Vital's son, Rabbi Shmuel. The Morizal, Marachu, that he used to take a haircut on the 48th day of the Omer, not the 49th. But I didn't really know why he did that. So he said, maybe it's possible. So he says maybe that this is the time when you get to the number 48, so it'll say 2 different combinations of the name Elokim. Now why 2 combinations? I'm not sure, but this is what the drush goes. Vehem kaf kad and kad shehem memches, which comes to 24 and 24, kad. We do have this someplace else in the Otos Chaim. It talks about the number 24, but here Elokim is actually a combination of 120, not 24. So he says there's 2 combinations, Beit Zeruf and Shoshem Elokim vehem kad and kad shehem memches, which come to gematria 48. So this is supposed to be, he says zecher, so he says Zecher, Ladaver, so a reminder of this, or a reference for this, is Niflos Be'eretz Cham, that he did wonders in the land of Cham. Cham is Gematria 48, so they got 24 and 24. And Cham, which is the land of Mitzrayim, refers to the people of Cham. Lo Choyim Makbid Liyom Mem Tes, they weren't strict about the 49th day, because the concept of the wonders that God did for us, already the redemption is coming out from the 48th. So maybe this is the kavanah of this pasuk. So maybe you understand this, because the kasha is that extra 120 permutations of Elokim, not 24. So he said, so you have a little bit less than the concept of Elokim. Elokim is 120. So im ma'at, so you say maybe a little bit, so let's try to understand the simple meaning of what a little bit means. It means it's one day less. So that's the idea there. 1 day less, from the 49 gates. The 49 gates of Tuma, so it's 1 less. So it's interesting that we think like this, is that we're almost at the 50 gates of Tuma when we come out of Eretz Yisrael. And if you're counting like that, then the 49th day, in one way, you're at the top level of Tuma. You're at the deepest, lowest possible place. And at that point, that's the place you take your haircut. Okay, that's what it seems to be. Or let's take another one, just do the permutations. Let's take away one of the letters, the smallest letter in the name Elokim, which is the letter Aleph. Os Aleph. So Aleph is only the gematria of 1. So then you'll see what's left over is 2 combinations of the name Elokim. That is, it's the 2 different possible combinations that it could be 24 and 24, which will make the word Cham, which refers to the Egyptians. So therefore, he shaved and he took a haircut on the 48th day. But he really hid the reason why he did it. This is my assumption. Maybe that's what he means, but I don't know. He says, the docho simbakash, and he pushed me slightly away with a piece of straw. So maybe it'll be, why are you doing on the 48th day? So he pushed me away with this piece of stubble. He says like this, well, maybe the barber won't be able to come tomorrow. And I'll wind up being Ve'eshev b'moed, and I'll be in the holiday, the Shavuos, without a haircut. But the truth really shows his way, came to nail his deity, so whatever it is. So the Govi writes on this, V'ayin and Nar Shalom, he says in Daf Nun Tes Amad Aleph, Divra Masko, the V'inyan, the Giluach, when you think about the shaving or the taking of a haircut, to push away the thinking of the people that say that you should take a haircut on the 48th day. He says of who toes. That whole idea that we're talking about is a mistake. It's a mistaken report. That's the shear. This is Baruch Fleischman.